video. Your grandmother. And audio rolling in 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Dr. D, as Billy Mandarino says, let's roll.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. Welcome, Dr. D. Good to see you again this week. We had such a great lunch together and a couple of beers.
Oh, and that was
at
nice.
Durf's last week after the show. That was a lot of fun.
Little free advertising for Durf's there on Mission and De La Vina.
So, Dr. D, when we go this now, they're going to be able to find us, all the paparazzi and the fans, right? But
I tell you what, here's how we get in.
The three of them that we have.
Right, exactly. I was going to say, here's how we get in with the paparazzi all around. Bring your camera and pretend like you're a member of the paparazzi.
Yeah.
They won't expect that.
Well, we love Durf. So we go there after the show sometimes.
Yeah.
It's our little sneak. We hide away and grab a beer and grab a burger. They got a great teriyaki burger.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
I do want to actually give out a couple other things real quick before we get to our special guest today. We're talking to In the Present Tense, and you're going to be listening to their music throughout the show. They're off their new album. Really, really good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Put the headphones on. It's a
Please.
good show to listen to music with headphones on.
Crank it up gently.
But I just want to give, you know me, I want to give out positive thanks to people out there that are doing a good job and working and keeping a positive attitude and instead of complaining. So here's a couple. Helen up at American Cleaners, where I get my everything cleaned. She's such a nice lady. Just wanted to shout out to Helen. And a couple of weeks ago, we went up to Los Olivos for my niece's birthday. She turned 16.
Oh, where'd you go
16. This was very cool. And this is why I want to give this little, if you're thinking of something, you're wondering what to do over the weekend, or if you got a day off, we went up to Los Olivos and we went to Pedigo, which is a bike, electric bike company. Oh, and they rent them out. So you can tour around. We rode all around wine country, rode through the vineyards and had lunch, and it was just very, very cool. Had a little wine.
And the vintners were chasing me with shotguns. Get out of my vineyard.
Yeah, no, I was all over the place. I don't think I pedaled. So they're electric bikes, and you're supposed to pedal, and then it adds momentum, right? But I didn't do that at all. I just used the handbrake there, and it was so much fun. Cool. I recommend that because we live here in Santa Barbara, and I've never done that. Like, I've always wanted to go to Tuscany and ride a bike. Well, why not just do it up in the backyard? So
absolutely.
Sam Mason at Pedigo, he really helped us out, and I said I was going to say hi to him on the show here.
Way to go, Sam!
And we went up to Bob's Well Bread. So good, such great service and baked.
Every time
sandwiches.
You talk about that place, it's like you can smell
the bakery,
baking of the bread right in the air.
So good. And then we capped it off with dinner at the Hitching Post.
Oh, that's a good place.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And then I wanted to say, I'm going blind here, and my glasses. I look at you and I see George Clooney, so I know I've got to be going blind here, Dr. D. So I don't think you're George Clooney.
No.
So I went and got glasses yesterday, and I wanted to give a shout out to Devin. He really helped me out. He was a good guy there at the eyeglass factory.
Oh, I go there too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They did a 2-for-1 glasses. So I got 2 pairs. So in case I break one, or I have one on and then I have another pair in my studio, so that if, they're great. They really are. And you can go in there. Adjustments, no charge.
Yeah, they were great. So next week I'm going to know what you really look like. So be warned. I might get a little scared.
I'll be wearing my Nixon mask. How about that?
Yeah. Well, let's get to, I normally don't open the show like that, but I just want to give some thanks because these people that I mentioned, were so great.
You might want to move your paper because we can't see you on YouTube.
I was hiding.
I see that.
All right, let's get to our special guest today and the great music that they've put out here. It's In the Present Tense. That's who we're talking to. In the present tense is Kirsten Candy and Billy Mandarino.
Hello.
Welcome.
Santa Barbara.
Good afternoon.
Will you guys just hold on one second? Because I'm going to actually I'm going to give you some credit for all the wonderful things you've done. You've been waiting so patiently. I had to mute
myself, Jeremiah, because I was going to interrupt you about 5 times.
Well, after I do this introduction, the show is yours completely.
That's my job to interrupt him. That's my job.
Yeah. You don't want to hear from me anymore. I want to hear from both of you.
Yeah.
So let's set you up a little bit, though. Santa Barbara multi-instrumentalists, Kirsten Candy and Billy Mandarino have combined their talents, and they have joined together to create a very, very welcome music duo for our times. They joined that short list of famous male and female duos, such as Buckingham Nicks, He and Him, Peter Cetera and Amy Grant, Joe Cocker, Jennifer Warnes, and Universal Honey, and so many more. They joined that list.
Aw,
Really great duos. It really great together.
thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, they are the present tense, in the present tense.
I like that.
Especially the Peter Cetera, Amy Grant. Next time I call.
I miss Amy
I
Grant.
used to
haven't-
love that song.
yeah, and I love Amy
I'm not
Grant.
kidding. I love it.
I have been listening to Amy Grant since the 80s.
Me too.
Okay.
Christian rock, right? Because you were a Christian rock
I was
station.
working at a Christian radio station, and that was
Oh,
one of the
wow.
artists, Sandy
Awesome.
Patty and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and so forth and
I
so
remember
on.
that era.
Yeah,
Amy
and,
Grant was
we were in, all the guys at the station were in love with the woman, and we wanted to be the ones to marry this girl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she was adorable.
Earth
Yeah.
angel.
Yeah.
Earth angel.
And you know who got her now, right?
Yeah.
I don't. Tell me who got her.
Vince Gill, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See?
Lucky.
Yeah.
That's a
You
good
learn so
duet.
much on this show.
Yeah. He was
Especially
doing
me.
I just happened to turn on this station, or TV's so weird now. I know I'm probably sidetracking, but TV's so weird now that we don't get cable, but we have Netflix and all these other things. And yet it sort of seems like you have cable and you get these random channels. And
Yeah.
one of them that I love is this channel called Circle. Have you guys seen it?
I have
No,
not.
no.
It's so cool. It basically has all different kinds of segments of Grand Ole Opry.
Oh,
And all
wow.
different kinds of so I just happened to turn it on the other day. I was like making breakfast and I want something kind of mellow in the background, and they had a segment of Vince Gill, Emmylou Harris, and some other gentleman I don't, very, very well known that I didn't know his name, country guy. And they were just trading songs and doing sort of an in the round because there was no audience at the Grand Ole Opry due to our current situation. So there are all these empty seats and they're trying to just keep the music alive out there. So
Oh, that's
kind of
cool.
interesting. Yeah. But
So
Vince
this is
Gill-
all present day stuff. It's not.
yeah, just last week I turned it on and I was like, wow, yeah, they're kind of trying to make do out there too.
Yeah.
So,
It's one thing that I have said about on demand is that you will see things you would never have seen otherwise. And that's what I love about it, as we've seen some unbelievably fantastic movies and documentaries and other things, just like what you're describing.
Mhm.
And I think that's great. Of course, there's also a lot of garbage there as well, but you weed through it and you really can get well entertained, well educated, if you will, and edified and inspired as well. So very cool stuff. Circle.
Well, bringing it back full circle here.
Ooh, I like
We're
that.
talking to-
Good segue.
nicely done.
In the present tense. That's who we're talking to today. Kirsten, Candy, Billy Mandarino. Their new album is Fortunately. God, I could do another pun. Fortunately, I found this album. I could keep going. Should I keep going?
No.
The album
Dad
is
jokes.
Fortunately. I loved every single track on the album
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
because you guys accomplished something that I hardly come across with a new album. An album where there are no throwaway tracks. Every single track stands on its own and could and probably will be a hit. In my opinion, it's really that good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fortunately, has catchy, well-written lyrics that will stay with you far after the song ends, with simple but powerful messages and lyrics that are not preachy and at the same time are highly relatable. Fortunately, it has all of the ingredients of a hit album. So we're going to be listening to that album, and it's all the songs on the show today. So everything
Wow.
that you hear in the breaks are songs that Billy actually sent me, and from the album. So let's talk a little bit about Kirsten Candy. Her musical career began when her college band, Circus Frequency, landed a demo deal from Warner Brothers. Later, and I think I've probably been following you and listening to you since those times, since a long time ago. Later, Kirsten recorded several solo albums, Fearless in 1996, Four Good Mondays in 1999, and she landed a record deal of her own in 2000. Through her collaboration with legendary producer Don Smith, she recorded at Rumbo Studios in Studio City with such notable musicians as Ron Blair and Steve Ferroni, who was a legendary, of course, drummer for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Your first two album releases, Kirsten, were Another Sweet Mess and Glimpse, and they came out in 2002 and were distributed by BMG. Over the years that followed, you had multiple releases, and Kirsten and her band toured major cities from San Francisco to New York to promote them. You also got a lot of some of your songs put into television and film. And in 2010, you returned back to Santa Barbara. I love this, and we'll have to talk about it a little bit. After joining the Triathlon Club, you met your husband and your soulmate, Jarrett McFarland. But you also met another soulmate, your musical soul brother, Billy Mandarino. You got a twofer from the Triathlon Club. So that's, I mean, if that's not enough reason to sign up at the Triathlon Club, I don't know what that is. It sounds like a lot of work, and I might have to practice probably and get in shape, but that sounds good. Twofer from the triathlon.
Well, Santa Barbara Triathlon is coming up in a few weeks here, so you could have them on your show.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were going to invite me to join and run and swim and all that bike, but I think
always open.
I need a couple more weeks than a couple weeks preparation.
By the way, that I would get a gold medal in watching that.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those for sure.
Master voyeur.
That's it right there.
All right, and then we got Billy Mandarino. Both of you guys are Santa Barbara locals for a long time. See you around town, and Kirsten, for sure, I feel like you have been kind of like the Santa Barbara, like everybody sees you, everybody goes to see you. I don't want to say you're Miss Santa Barbara. That's the wrong. You really
she is.
You're a musician, right? As a musician, you're an artist. We've followed you forever, and same with you, Billy. You're an artist. You're a musician and business owner. And Billy is even more than all of that. He's a tour de force as a global motivational and inspirational speaker.
Oh, wow.
And now we're going to let them speak, and you'll see what I mean. They're really great people. Kirsten and Billy, welcome to the show.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
Well, collectively, what did you set out to accomplish with your new album, Fortunately?
You know, Kirsten is just a gift. As she says, we're musical soulmates. I think there's always something bigger moving the pieces around when things like this happen in the world and life, where you just put out this intention of good music and wanting to create art and share it with people. Mm-hmm. And then what do you know? These good things happen. And we met that many years ago. And we just started this songwriting project, and it kept blossoming into these rich songs and these inspirational songs that kept moving us. And when you're moved by your music, when it comes from that place of kind of not what's in it for us, but how can we serve with this music and how can we share this music, this whole in the present tense project and now band and duo is formed. And this whole record, thank God for Tom Flowers, he was our producer. And big shout out to Tom Flowers. He's a brilliant producer who spent a good year with us in his studio. I'm going to plug Tom a little bit. He did Steve Perry from Journey's record a couple years back. And he's just a solo record. He's an amazing producer. So he's the third member of In the Present Tense because he adds so much to
the invisible hand.
Oh my God. He's a genius, brilliant producer, songwriter, just creative genius. And so a lot of the sound that was created in this record is big shout out to Tom because he put so much of his inspiration and musical influence and heart and soul into the record. So equally, I feel like he's like the three legs. So we're like a tripod. We're like the tripod.
You guys ever fall over?
No, not on a tripod.
No, that's really great. What I said in the beginning about the album having no tracks that were just so. I mean, from one to the next, it's just really well put together, and the vocals and the lyrics, everything. How did you met at the Triathlon Club, and was that 2010 that you met? The two of you met? or
Well, his
know each other?
wife, Dessa Mandarino, is an amazing athlete, and she and I became good friends. And at the time, Billy was doing, some different musical projects, and he decided to go for what was it? Was it The Voice?
Oh yeah, I was auditioning for, I had a couple of friends that were just, let's try this voice thing. Let's try this X Factor thing.
Uh-huh.
So we just, that experience was so fun. I mean, we didn't make it, that's a whole nother story in itself. But there's 15,000 people at these auditions. You get to meet all these people that have the same dream.
Yeah.
And just being in that collective soup of kind of energy and inspiration, you're just so fired up, to get your sound out there, get your voice out there. So it was really fun. So like 3-4 years, the band that I was with at the time was Ultraviolet Light Brigade, and 3 of the guys, we decided to go audition for these shows. And ultimately, those bands, as bands do, it just kind of dissolved. And then Kirsten and I, we played the show together.
Well, I was giving you some voice lessons.
Yes, voice lessons. She was helping me become a better singer.
To get on
And
The
he was
Voice
listening
next
to me
time.
cry on his shoulder about various incarnations.
Oh, that's funny. So basically, you became his coach from The Voice. You guys just didn't have
Truly.
cameras
I said,
around. There were no
oh my
cameras.
gosh, because the singers at The Voice and these shows, just perfect, impeccable singers. And Kirsten is one of those quality singers, the ilk of The Voice. She could easily get on that show, but she's never wanted to go down that road. So I was lucky enough to start writing songs with her, and she and I just started riffing, and the songs kind of just took us. Like we just kind of surrendered to the music and the song, and we never really work hard at the music. It just comes. It comes in an inspirational manner, and I think that's the best music. It's not like it's contrived.
That's better than how I described it. It came to you obviously naturally, so it comes to us, the listener, that way as well. That it's just meant to be. That you put it really well that way, Billy. I like that. I wanted to, before we move on to my next question, Kirsten, do you have a red chair though? Did you when you were the voice coach for Billy, did you have a red chair?
Oh gosh, no. And Billy this is like 7 years ago. So I have to compliment Billy. In the last 7 years, he's someone that just has worked so hard on really honing his craft. And, if I ever gave him a tip or two, he just took it with a grain of salt. Went, okay, I'm going to work on that. Like, I always try to deliver any kind of constructive criticism to anyone in as kind a way as possible, because I really hate getting constructive criticism.
Right.
And we're all so vulnerable, really, when it boils down to it. My skin isn't terribly thick, so so Billy always took that very well and instantly incorporated it. And even over the years, I just saw how he grew so much as a songwriter and a performer, just at writing. So even in the last, dozen years, we've both taken a lot of Pro Tools classes and built our own little studio setups at home so that we could have freedom to do it. So Billy, I have to give props to, because he really, put these things together at times that made it so much easier for all of us to just add our part to too. So.
Well, he's one of the hardest working men that I know, and that he can take, that he sought out advice, I think is so intelligent, and get as an artist, I think you need that creativity and other viewpoints. And that shows a lot of self-confidence as an artist, and and a true professional as an artist as well. That, right. I think Billy,
Absolutely.
All of us that, I don't think anybody really likes criticism or notes, but it does improve and it does help you, and if you can take that, to
Getting
heart.
The ego out of the way is
right.
The key, Jeremiah. Most people, the ego kind of gets in the way of the music, it gets in the way of creation and allowing things to kind of evolve how they're supposed to, instead of directing them, with a really heavy hand. If you can just kind of let go. And that's what kind of has been the inspiration of this band in the present tense. And we just both learned to just kind of trust each other, let go, let the inspiration, the ideas come through. And the songwriting and the harmonies, the structure, the arrangements are so much sweeter.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to actually, we've got to take a break here. It looks like I got the 1 minute, and my next question is a large one. So I'll take the break now. We are going to take you to break with Circles. And we are talking to Billy Mandarino, Kirsten Candy in the present tense. Enjoy Circles. We'll be right back after the short break.
Clear. All right, stand by.
I really like that song. I like the message.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
That one gives me chills.
Yeah, it did. Me too.
Sweet.
That's why I put it as our first
Hmm.
song going out. It hit me that way too, Billy.
And then
Thank you.
Angus is playing cello, and he's a famous
Do you know
local
Angus?
cellist.
I don't
Do you
know. I don't know if I,
remember, Jeremiah, do you remember the wood burning project from a
Yeah.
million moons ago? He
Yeah.
was the cello player in that band.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I love the cello.
And
the violin,
Tom,
yeah.
isn't it beautiful?
Beautiful.
And Tom, it was Tom, Angus, and another oh gosh, I'm forgetting the names. Oh, Mick Flowers, Tom's brother, was the drummer. And the lead singer, oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I've known him forever. It's terrible. But
Did they
anyway,
play
they're
the
also
libero?
talented.
Is that the libero?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They did that
Mike.
libero with a show with Toad recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
he got up there and played, but he is a master of that instrument.
Well, I mean, if we have time, I'd like you to give a little bit out about each song if you want to give credits to
Sure.
musicians, et cetera. So I'll ask you when we come back, just to give us what you just did real briefly, you know, to talk about the cellist or the musicians that were involved in the creation of these songs.
All right, I'm ready. Coming back with Fingerprint.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We're talking with Billy Mandarino and Kirsten Candy in the present tense. We took you to break with Circles, and we came back with Fingerprint. Tell us a little bit about Circles, Kirsten.
Well, I wrote it a few days before the original, like little demo version of it before Christmas, just a few days before. And I was just thinking about, you know, that feeling of just spinning out, you know, personally, when you get caught in a loop, when you get caught in a circle. And that's just a heavy feeling when you just feel like, you know, there's no way out sometimes. And then I started thinking about close friends and family members and different people that I know that have just, they can't get out of that space, and they're trying so hard, whether it's a relationship challenge or you know, just the pandemic, or maybe even something more serious like depression or an addiction. You know, these are kind of things where people get caught in circles. So I started writing it, and I had a sort of a demo version of it, and then I threw it. And the beautiful thing about working with my dear soul brother Billy here is that, you know, it's always a safe and positive environment. I mean, I really could do, you know, no wrong working with him. He never makes me feel bad about anything I write. He never feels like, oh, you should really do this differently. You know, we both kind of discuss sort of the objective of a song, and then he'll go, well, what do you think about this? Or we might throw different things in, but there's never a wrong in our environment, our studio or our writing environment, which is great because it just gives you so much room to just explore and not shut down the creativity, you know? So that is a major thing for me, that I had to kind of, you know, be real comfortable working with someone else, because I usually wrote solo all these years.
Right.
And so back to the story. So after I started writing it, Billy started collaborating with me, and we came up with some, you know, ideas around it. But where he really helped, and also even my husband had an input, which was helpful, just in terms of lyrics, like, you know, just little tweaks to words or phrases that just made it really all the more powerful, definitely on Billy's end of it. And then even in the last verse, my husband was like, well, I'm kind of getting sick of this chorus. And I'm going, what? You know, which is why I hang out with Billy when I'm writing songs.
You're like, back to my other partner, my other soulmate.
But in a way, you know, that friction sometimes helps, because it actually challenged me on the last verse, where it kind of is a departure from the other ones. The first two parts of the song are kind of like, why are we still always stuck here? Why aren't we getting out of this? Or why do you keep getting stuck? And then in the third one, it's sort of like, you know what, we're in this together, and we can get out of it, and we're going to get out of it, and we just got to keep moving forward. So that is very much a Billy philosophy, and we talk about these kind of things all the time. And that was sort of, after we played it again for my husband, he's like, oh, okay, now I can breathe.
Well, the big payoff in this song, the conclusion is walking in a straight line, you know, because a circle is just going around. A straight line is just out of the circle and in this new direction. And in this moment, you can take your power back and just get out of this loop, this hamster wheel. And that's the payoff of the song, and the brilliant conclusion of the song. Just keep walking in this straight line, like just get out of this repetitious series of habits and rituals, just like go forward and have faith and move on. And that's what Jared, her husband, and I were so excited about when the last, part of the song just kind of brings it together. Goes, okay, yes, there is hope in this.
Yeah,
I can get out of this stuck situation.
Right.
And like what you just said, the payoff is going in a straight line. And it's funny, when I was cutting the music or giving it to Dr. D to put in the sound bed and cutting this, where to play the song, where to end the song, I almost ended it. And then that line came in and I'm like, oh, we got to keep going. I got to move it out a little bit because that is the payoff.
Yeah.
And we play another 20 seconds of the song because it just really, I couldn't let it go because there was the lesson. So it's funny that you mentioned that, Billy. One of my questions, and Kirsten, you started to answer it, I think, already about Billy. But you decided to collaborate together, and I can see why. That's very obvious to me that both of you have a love for and a music passion, but also a passion for life and your craft. And you've put together just a phenomenal first album together. But you have particular skills or qualities. Each of you probably have your own that you bring. And you really talked about Billy's a little bit there. Billy, what qualities, skills does Kirsten bring that complement your style and your musical ability and goals?
That's such a great question, Jeremiah, because she makes me. You ever see that movie with Jack Nicklaus, As Good as It Gets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, he has a quote that says, "You make me want to be a better man."
Yeah.
She makes me want to be a better songwriter, a better person, a better inspiration to musically in the world. And when I have ideas and I have songs and we bring them together, they are way better than if I would have just went it alone. I was just, I'm just going to go this alone. I'm so committed to this chorus and to this song structure and these chord progressions. And she just, no, what if you did this? What if you went to the A here? Or just crazy cool things that only she can hear. But that's where the kind of the musical soulmates come in, where she just like completes my thought. And she makes me want to be a better songwriter, better singer. I mean, that's why I sought her out, years ago, because her singing is so impeccable and so perfect.
Yeah.
That I love it. And then our harmonies tonally just really line up. So she brings so much to our band in the sense of just musicality, harmony, and her harmonies are just like on point.
Did you say hormones?
Hormones.
Oh. We're not going to talk about that.
We can talk about that on the commercial break.
That's after break.
There you go.
Well,
harmonies and hormones coming up.
That could be our next record.
I like it.
That'd be a hit.
Run with it.
Well,
see what I mean? The collaboration is
just I mean, you're collaborating. You're coming up with songs here on the show. You can't help it. Each other. You're just finish each other.
Music to us.
You finish each other's sentences, right? Yeah. You complete each other. Let's just keep going with movie cliches, movie quotes. Okay, so we're going to take you to break right now with the new normal, and then when we get back, we're going to talk about that. What the hell is the new normal?
Here we go.
I love the song. I hate the phrase because I've heard it too many times over the past 18, 19 months.
Yeah. And you can keep in it together too. I know we are, but you can keep it for a while.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it anymore.
Good deal. Good deal.
We're talking with Billy Mandarino, Kirsten Candy. They are in the present tense. Their new single, we're going to play in its entirety. So stay with us at the very end of the show. It's called Last Day in Paradise. You can find them on Instagram at In the Present Music, on Facebook, In the Present Tense. Excuse me. I told you my glasses don't work. In the Present Tense Music on Instagram, In the Present Tense Music on Facebook, and on their YouTube channel. To visit Billy Mandarino's site, go to billymandarino.com. And for more of Kirsten Candy, visit Facebook at Kirsten-Candy. We'll be right back.
All right, stand by.
God, I got my glasses. When I'm saying they're bad, they are really bad.
You guys are absolute pros, man. You guys are pros.
And this is our very first show. This is show number one for us.
Dr. D, you've been doing this for lifetimes. It seems like you've been doing it for life.
40 plus years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell.
This is a first collaboration for the two of you.
No,
I'm
Oh,
we're
you're
going
joking. Oh, you're joking. Okay.
400th. We got the
Okay.
just shy. Yeah. Just shy of 400. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, guys. Good job.
All right, children.
But my mistakes, I apologize, are glass related. When I read something, I just can't see it totally. So I apologize. I messed that up in the
No.
present tense.
All right, kids.
It'll work
Here we
out.
go. Here we
Dr.
go.
D.
Here we go.
Dr.
In three.
He'll clean it all up. for me. He's used to cleaning up my mess.
I'll get the weed whacker, the snow blower, whatever it takes. All right, in or the flow be in 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We're within the present tense. Billy Mandarino, Kirsten Candy. You know them. You love them. You're going to love this album.
Oh yeah. Hey,
You are going to love this album. Underline.
absolutely. I wanted to ask you about your collaborative tripod. I am presently working on my very first song. I'm working with a musician, songwriter.
Dr. D, you're trying to get free advice again.
No.
Hire them.
Always willing.
They work off. You can reach out to them on the
Always willing
website.
to help.
No, it's not asking for free advice. It is asking about their process. Now, you say that the songs usually just come to you. Now, it took me a month to write the chorus line and then the first verse. And then one night, after a rather tumultuous night, I was actually able to write 3 more verses. I was up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I just couldn't sleep, and and away it went. When you start to create the song, and I don't know whether it's the music or the words come first, but in terms of the music, who determines what instrumentation goes in to give it, let's say, its fullness? And when I say that, there was a survey taken about modern music versus music going back 30, 40 years. And they're saying that the music of today does not have the fullness. And when you think of the top bands, as well as single artists of the 70s and 80s, you hear instrumentation. John Denver, Dan Fogelberg, even Harry Chapin with the greatest cello players that you will ever hear. You've got violins, you've got horns, you've got a wind and string section in many of these groups. You think of Queen, okay, or Styx, and some of the big rock bands of that era.
Right.
And they're just full, but they say today's music just ain't there. Who decides? Or how is that decision made?
Well, so your question is basically who decides on the instrumentation?
Yeah. How do you determine what is going in there? Is it just going to be a guitar? That's it, a cappella or unplugged? Or are we going to bring in, the Boston Symphony Orchestra today?
Wouldn't that be nice? Well, right there, economically, that part, the story of economics, it costs so many thousands of dollars to get a live sound stage rented and recorded down in those, mostly big cities. And so that already. But I mean, my point is that with technology today, we have the ability to create that if we wanted to. We just, at this moment in time, we were just trying to go for in general with my own writing. I guess I'm trying to think of where we're at in this particular album. Billy and I wrote on our instruments, individually. So I either wrote on piano or guitar. I wrote circles on piano. I wrote New Normal on guitar, and then Billy's a better guitar player. So as soon as I got that down, I handed him the guitar and I said, okay, you'll be recording this and probably playing it 10 times better than I would. So, almost instantly he came over to the studio that we're in right now. And, we laid down, I taught him the guitar, he learned it, and then he added his own embellishments. And then from there, after we usually do some version of, just for our own creativity to happen and to take shape, we usually come up with the basic tracks, meaning the bass and the drums on keyboard, or sometimes Billy can play bass, or I've been learning a little bass, so I put a little bass line down maybe, and we record it. And so to give it some legs, that's what we initially do. From there, we decide whether piano or real guitar tracks are warranted, or if we want to leave anything out, or kind of make the skeleton start taking shape. And then in this particular album, because I guess my point is every project's different,
Right.
so in this particular incarnation, with Billy and I, and then Tom helping us with some of the editing, and also he wound up playing some guitars and things. He had an intern that was a drummer that jumped on. He thought, oh, this would be nice with cello in here. And so we were all pretty like-minded, so we're rarely going to be upset with anything that Tom thinks of. He's not, we're all on the same page. So it's almost that telepathy that happens among people in a project where, and if you didn't like it, we could go, no, just mute that horrible cello. I'm being sarcastic. When is cello ever horrible? But we can make decisions based on that afterwards. And so that was sort of our process with Tom, that we started. Billy and I did a lot of the pre-production at home. Billy made a lot of amazing tracks on his own. That's why I was complimenting his engineering that's really come up over the years. So he made, or he might say, hey, why don't you sing another vocal here? I'm really good at layering, so I'll layer a lot of vocals. And then the last part I was going to just say was that, as a group, we decide on whether something should stay or go, whether it needs to be retracked. And so that's kind of how the instrumentation comes together. Whether you're going for a full giant sound like the 70s, you really need more people, or you need expert in the studio to make that sound happen. With, Todd Capps is someone who was on one of my albums where he made this amazing symphonic string section. It sounded like we were at a studio. So it just depends on the people you have available, the talent, the time, and the money.
And I get from the two of you and the creative process that there is no ego involved when you're in the creative mode, because you're trying to just create something. You don't know what it's going to sound like at the other end. And at that moment, it really doesn't matter. It's okay. What can I throw in here, or what should we take out? And you're playing off of it. And that's a beautiful thing. And I would like to see more of that happening.
Yeah, Dr. D, when you can learn to surrender, and that's the problem. Most people don't surrender to like for you, you're writing your songs. We're surrendered to the process of the inspiration, and don't get so caught up. And it's got to sound like this and that. And you just got to surrender to the creative process, and then it happens how it's supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
And the last piece, and this is for you specifically, if you get too picky about your own stuff, it is just a killer for creativity. And fortunately, Billy and I are not that way. We're not super, I know, there are people who close to me who are, they want to be perfect. They want it to be perfect. And perfection is the absolute killer of the creative process, because, otherwise, just think of it this way. And Tom said this also recently. He said that, if it isn't flowing, like one time Tom and I were writing a song before this project a few years ago, and there were parts of it that we really liked, and there were parts that just would not gel, and they just weren't locking in. And, Tom said, sometimes you just have to surrender the song and just move on to the new song. You don't beat yourself to death trying to make that song work, because sometimes maybe there are a couple pieces that you can salvage for something else, but don't keep hitting your head against the wall trying to get that song to work. So if it's coming and it's going to be there and it needs a little tweaking, great, but just move on to the next song. Just keep writing. And that's a big, good advice I've gotten over the years too.
Do I have time for a question, or do we need to take the break?
Let's take a break. You can ask the question coming back.
Okay. Well, we came back in with the Nowist, and we're taking you to break with Fortunately. And I want to talk about the album when we come back. We'll be right back.
All right. We're clear. Stand by.
What do we got left on radio?
Nothing,
right?
We have about 2 minutes, but I will make that part of the radio.
Okay.
All right. Of that. Okay, stand by. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We are with Billy Mandarino, Kirsten Candy in the present tense, and the new album is Fortunately. to me, the album, fortunately, I want to talk about it a little bit here. The songs feel like a collective journal of global shared experiences that we've all had the last year and a half. I think that everybody could relate or find something to relate to on this album in one of the songs, if not all. But we all have pandemic fatigue right now. And the last year and a half is, to me, I just want to kind of go away. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Just keep coming back at you, right? For me, personally, yeah, it feels like I would compare it to if somebody asked me what the pandemic fatigue is like. It's like if I had 2 years of straight insomnia. My perspective,
It's a bad dream.
Rose, really, yeah, my perspective is faint. I can't see I'm not seeing it sharply, literally and figuratively. Tolerance and empathy are challenged with nearly every human interaction that I have. I'm just talking about myself. And my optimism has become a daily goal, which normal was always a certainty with me. I'm always optimistic, but now I'm having to find reasons to keep myself optimistic. With this album, fortunately, you took the situations that we have all lived through the past year and a half and somehow made them feel more manageable, putting the shared experiences that we've been through together into an upbeat, relatable various tracks. Were you worried at all when you created this? Was that the intention to communicate what's been going on, or was it just various life lessons? And were you worried that the messages might fall flat in the songs at all? Were you worried at all that the audience out there needs something different and upbeat and positive, which you've given them? But was that a worry at all going into this, or did it just?
Jeremiah, I think you said we just came from break with Fortunately, correct? That was the track that just played.
Yep.
And Kirsten and I, when you complete a record, you think, okay, what's the title track? What's the name of this record going to be? And she really was just advocating for Fortunately. Says, fortunately, which can be taken a couple ways. Fortunately, we still have, we've got through this. A lot of us didn't get through this, but the majority of us got through this. Fortunately, we still have family. And fortunately, a lot of us still have our jobs. Fortunately, we have health and we have, to be grateful. We have to be grateful for what we have in this moment. So in the present tense, obviously the band's name speaks to that. Just living in this present moment, living in the now, but being grateful, because they say gratitude is the best multiplier. So the more grateful you can be, more abundance comes into your life. You can serve people from that place of gratitude. It's amazing. It's almost like a technology. You can just be grateful. So Fortunately speaks to that thinking, especially what we all went through this last year and a half. And we wrote this song during the the whole album. It all came through this pandemic. So it was an exercise in how can we bring light to so much darkness. And this record is all about bringing light.
And they always say, write what you know, right? And that's what you knew at the moment. But then we go to the question of what's the new normal, which is also a title of the song, The New Normal, right? And if you look at it if you look at what we've been through and then the way things have changed, the new normal, to define that, what do you think that, and Billy, I know you think about things like this quite a bit as the nowist and in your public speaking and in your music as well. What does that look like? Not what it looks like right now, but what do you see if you a perfect vision? What should it look like? Well, Kirsten, we're all kind of lost, I think, after
Kirsten brought that song to our band, and I would like her to talk about that, because when she wrote that song on guitar, we were in that space. She was like, okay, we're all, and when that song was written, it was right in the beginning. Okay, you would hear the media and everyone's like, oh, this new normal. What's the new normal? But she really wanted to take it and bring it into a different light and bring it into a different mindset, opposed to the new normal is this masked up, negative, fearful world. We could choose differently. Yes. And that's, I believe, well, you talk about that, but I feel
No. I think you got it. You roll with it, man.
Yeah, no.
Roll with it.
The new normal.
Let's roll, says Billy.
The new normal is what you make it, right? It's what you make it.
Yes.
It's how,
Okay.
if you judge your life on your past and you worry about your future, what happens to your energy and your focus? It's all over the place. But in this new normal, you can use gratitude. You can be fortunate about be grateful for what you have. You're very
Mhm.
fortunate to have what you have. If you can just find the things in your life that are good, that can become your new normal.
I
You
like
can
it.
change your life through that.
I like that.
I remember now only one thing that I'll add to that, and thank you, Billy, because that's really a beautiful way to describe it. And I was just reflecting on where was I at? Again, it was around the holidays, right before Christmas, also, and I was kind of feeling low. We had a really nice holiday personally. There was nothing wrong, but it was sort of that, well, there's really nothing wrong. So why am I still in this funk? And I'm going, God, we have we have a lot of abundance, that we have a space to record this song and we're making this album. And then I have someone that wants to write music. And Billy has really kept me on track, because normally I've been pretty self-motivated over the years. And I really have had kind of a weird, several years where I haven't felt the level of motivation that I used to in say my 20s or my 30s.
Mhm.
And so working with someone really helped elevate my energy and set goals and things like that. But this particular song, it was a darker song. It was in a minor key. It wasn't where it is now. And when I even, my husband was the first to hear it, God, that's kind of depressing. And I really,
Is it the guy over there off camera?
yeah, on the other side of the wall. Honey, I know you're gonna see this,
He's
so
like-
forgive me for making you sound like an ogre. You're not. I love you. Mwah.
He's amazing. We love J-Man.
But he's the compliment to me,
Yeah.
as we with our partners are. But Billy and I are all about joy. We're all about light and joy, and don't get in the way of that, So that's
So those
kind of
are
what,
some themes that you guys do like to explore in your writing, is light, joy, and
It's both. So you have to live in both, right?
Yeah.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
dark and the light. It's like
Yeah.
this oneness, but there's dark, and and how do you approach the dark? How do you deal with it? How do you shine light in the dark spaces? And so that's what's so great about the new normal, that song.
it
Is
evolved.
It truly evolved. And it's great that it came from that place, because you had to kind of work through it. And then we all collaborated, and with Tom, we got it to this place where it's hopeful, and it's the new normal. It's not what the world's trying to feed you. It's really what you have within.
And I think that also I love I love the message, and I was thinking about the title, and I was thinking, because normal kind of sounds like a static existence, and that's seems like what people want. But then I started thinking, wait a minute, what if the new normal was a dynamic life? In other words,
Right.
that we would embrace change.
Yes.
That would be the new normal, to embrace whatever, and again, just roll with it.
Right.
Yep. You got
Billy-
it, Dr. D.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And Billy, I mean, you live your life and your business and is about helping people and creating that joy and that light and staying on track. It's got to be, you're a human being. And I want to ask this question of both of you, and we only unfortunately have about 3 minutes left, but what circles, going back to your song on the album, do you find yourself trapped in, Billy, most often, that you try to break through and keep that straight line going?
And that's very good, by the way. Trapped in a bottle, which is
Well said. I mean, he just hit almost every song in the record right there. Like that was brilliant.
done.
He's a wordsmith.
I
Dr.
told
D.
you
Jeremiah's
I
a
love the album.
wordsmith.
It's a mashup.
I love the album.
It's a
They're
total
your
mashup.
words. I'm just borrowing them.
That's right.
But what is that, Billy? I mean,
it's the world, isn't it? It's the world. The world is trying day and night. I'm gonna quote E.E. Cummings. It says, to live in a world that's trying day and night to make you just like them is to fight the greatest fight and to never stop fighting, to be nobody but yourself in this world. That's I paraphrase his quote, but that's what it is. The circle is like I call it infobesity. I learned that from a brilliant teacher. He says we're obese with information. There's so much information. So if you let this infobesity overtake you, which is too much news, too much negativity, too many bad habits in your life, then you become you get in that circle. That what's the song that Kirsten wrote about. It's like I struggle with that, and how I repair that struggle is to start in that straight line, to stay in the moment, to realize the power I have is in this moment, and to use my wonderful human imagination and my inspiration to focus on what is good and be grateful for, and then serve people. I mean, if I want to get
Yeah.
better, I'll just find somebody who's less fortunate and serve them, and then my life gets better.
Mhm.
It's always
That's-
about paying it forward.
That's
There it
true.
is, there it is.
Kirsten, how about you? What circles do you find yourself trapped in?
Mine is always a time management loop. I'm very unrealistic about how much time things take. And poor Billy was sitting here at 10 to 12 going, are you sure this computer's going to boot up? And I'm like, I push things to the edge and I get a lot done. I'm super productive.
Sounds like this show.
Yeah, super
Yeah,
productive.
sometimes.
But
yes.
I'm not a conventional productive person. I'm not, type
Yeah.
A, but I have to be an acceptance that that's who I am, not be hard on myself about it. And, even with our music and putting it out there, not, I've had to kind of reframe that for myself and not kind of approach it in the same way that I did 20 years ago. I have to kind of look at it a different way and just kind of enjoy it more than set it as a goal for something else, if that's really paraphrasing, and I know we got to go.
I don't want to go.
I don't either.
Believe me, if we didn't have a 1 o'clock show, I
Hey,
would keep
Jeremiah?
you on here.
Could we have them back?
Of course. Billy's
that'd be
coming back
great.
in a couple weeks to
Love
talk
that.
about his new
Would love
book
that.
and the Nowist.
All right.
And Dr. D, you should have him on your show. Tell me your
Hey.
story.
My program is Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World,
There's
but
this
that's enough for that
plug.
right now.
Okay, so let me ask the question though. I got 3 more, and we can take it to 104.
You
That's
go
as far
for
as
it.
I can go.
You go for it.
So let's do it, because I really want to hear this story. I've been meaning to ask you, Billy, what happened? There's a story about an inspiration on a golf course. Can you tell that story? What
Oh my
happened?
gosh. Yeah. Well,
Flash of
I'm-
enlightenment that you experienced.
yeah. Wow. That changed my whole life, and I'll try and do it quick.
Sorry, I'm asking this long. Go ahead.
I'll try and do it quickly.
Put-
And I'm
put your
thankful
life
that
in.
yes, I'm so thankful you asked that question, because it's all about transformation and what happens in your life, and what do you learn from these transformations? Do you pay attention to them, or you just think, oh, that was a weird coincidence, or is that just a joyful happenstance? But I was very afraid. I don't know if any golfers out there, I'm sure there's plenty, because the golf world has seen this massive influx because of the pandemic. It's a sport where you can be outside away from people, and it's a great game. But I used to be a really frustrated golfer, and I was throwing clubs and breaking clubs, and I don't have a lot of vices, but I was a golf junkie.
Yeah.
I was like addicted to golf. It was the problem. My wife was like a golf widow. I was just, this was
Golf
my
widow.
thing. So one day I'm on the golf course, I'm throwing my clubs, and I just have this, I felt like I was having a stroke. I felt like I was having, literally, it's so ironic. They call it a stroke.
Yeah,
Right? In
yeah,
golf, when you
yeah.
hit the ball, it's a
Oh
stroke.
no, that was a dad one.
That was a dad joke. But my
Uh,
hands were tingling. My heart was like feeling tight. My chest was feeling tight. And I felt like I was having a heart attack or a stroke. And the strangest thing happened, Jeremiah and Dr. D. I just started to feel like my body was leaving itself. Like I saw this really weird woo-woo explanation of it, but I started feeling like this out-of-body experience. I could see like myself on the golf course, and I felt this other awareness looking at me from above that. And it was the craziest thing that happened to me. And ultimately, to take the Cliff Notes version of the story, I imagined that I hit the ball in the hole from 74 yards while I was out of my body. And so, boom, like my body came together with my body on the earth, and I ended up hitting the ball in the hole from 74 yards in real life. After I saw it with my
Wow.
imagination, this weird. So it's a short version of this enlightenment. It's called a satori in the Zen tradition, or a flash of enlightenment. And
Wow.
we can speak more about that. But
Oh.
it changed my life, because it made me look at what my relationship is to the world and to time in a different way.
Well, that's a really cool story. Well, definitely.
It is crazy.
That is a crazy story, but I envisioned it as you explained it.
Oh,
Very,
yeah.
very cool. Kirsten, it's so good to see you again and have you on the show and to
It's
hear
great
the
to see
music. I love it. Billy, the two of you together are really fantastic.
Love
Talked
y'all.
about
We
this.
love our music. We're just grateful that you had us on your show, your
Thank
beautiful
you.
show, your powerful show. You two are Batman and Robin.
I don't care which role I'm at.
I'll be Batman.
At least
Please.
I'm a member of the team.
I never liked Robin's tights. I never.
Yeah,
I want-
you saw
I want
too
the-
much. You saw way too much.
I want the fake muscles.
Yeah, but
The color
Batman had his
scheme
black
was-
underwear on the outside.
Yeah,
I don't
that's true.
understand that.
Well, that's another show.
That's
Hey,
another
what's
show.
next for in the present tense? What's next for you guys? Are there a tour plan? Are there dates around Southern California or anywhere else that we can see you or your fans can see you?
Well, that's a good point. We hadn't really thought that far ahead because we had a big giant release in May, and it took a lot of time to just get that one out and up. And since then, we've just had a lot on the plate. So the new goal is we're going to try to make an acoustic set for all of our stuff, and maybe just do some small little things around town and just get our legs back on in that respect, because we haven't played a show out in quite a while.
Right. And it's still iffy about how if you can play or.
We did play 8 of the songs in May 7th and 8th this couple of months ago. And we're going to do that again the following year. At the same time, we're going to have a live show, lots of people, and it's check out billymandarino.com. You can find out all about that. But it was beautiful to perform these songs live. We have music videos for the songs. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can see all 10 of the music videos that go along with this album.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well,
cool.
Go there and again, it's in the present tense. Is that how they find you on YouTube as well?
That's right.
Okay.
In the present tense music or in the present tense.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome.
And you've been waiting this whole time for the new single. And now here it is. It's Last Day in Paradise. But before, I'm going to tease you just a little bit longer. Instagram. Go to Instagram in the present tense music. Facebook, same. YouTube, the same. For more of Billy Mandarino, visit billymandarino.com. For more of Kirsten Candy, visit Facebook at Kirsten-Candy and pick up this album on Bandcamp. That's where it really supports the musicians such as Billy and Kirsten. Go to Bandcamp and pick up the new album, Fortunate. Here you go. Teased you enough. Enjoy and listen more and evolve. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr. D.
Dr. D.
Jeremiah.
All right, well,
All right, we're clear.
Definitely have you guys back for more. There's
now
lots more to talk
it's
about.
fun.
Before we go anywhere,
Thank you so much.
before we go anywhere, we're going to have to do this quickly. I need to get from the two of you collaborating together here a little a voice drop that we can use in future programs as little things where you say, hi, I am, and we are, and you can hear our music, blah, blah, and you're listening to the Jeremiah Show.
And make sure to mention the album or where to get it. And then you're listening to Jeremiah. So we continue to send people to get the album.
Exactly. You want to say
All right.
all the sites and the stuff because I don't know as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I will count you.
They're typically about 30.
Go ahead.
Typically about 30 seconds. So just a quick kind of
whatever you. Yeah.
All
right.
Okay. Ready?
I'll tell them where to go to the site.
Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ready?
Stand by. I'll count you down in 3, 2, 1. You are live.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Candy and
Billy Mandarino.
And we are in the present tense. And we're so happy to be a part of this amazing show called the Jeremiah Show. Thanks for having us.
Love you guys. Check out our new album, Fortunately, at bandcamp.com. It's in the present tense, fortunately. Thanks for listening.
All right, we're clear.
That was
Perfect.
awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And by the way, just so you have an idea before we go, and this will take only a couple of seconds, this is how people will hear the front end of your song.
3, 2, 1.
And there you go.
Cool. That
All
sounds
right.
awesome. Thank
Big
you.
introduction.
Yeah.
You're sure welcome.
Guys.
Thank you.
I'll send this to you guys later.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
guys. Well, such
Bye.
a pleasure hanging out.
You
You
bet.
too.
Same here.
Bye.
You
Blessings.
guys are incredible. Thank you,
Thanks.
Dr. D. Thank you, Jeremiah. Love you guys. Peace.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Eddie.
All right, there we are. Okay, it's 8 after. I think we're fine. Hey, look at that.
Brian's got a nice headshot there.
Kind of, yeah, I was going to say a very nice headshot. All we need now. There. Oh my God, look at that console. Holy macro.
We got a little console envy.
Oh man.
Hey, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, but
I like that.
but I'm not trying to overcompensate for anything, am I?
Brian, I think that's one of the coolest shots anybody's ever done.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Brian's a pro.
Wow.
It's a virtual background, but I can move the sliders.
Wow. So basically this is one of those VR things that you
Right.
put the thing on and you can move stuff.
While you were sleeping, I put contacts in your eyes.
Oh man, that's a little spooky, but okay. But okay.
Brian, I'm sorry we're a couple minutes late here.
No worries.
We ran long there, but we got a lot to get to, so I bet we should get started.
Let's do it.
We got
I'm ready.
Lot to
Let
talk
me
about
stop